If you've traveled to India or Pakistan, you might have gotten shocked at the utter chaos that is on the roads of these countries. People driving on the wrong side of the road, jaywalking, no helmets, no street signs. It's utter chaos. And these are just some of the reasons why third world countries have only 60% of the world's cars, but 90% of road-related fatalities. This issue is so big that it has killed around 1.19 million people globally, with around 20 to 40 million people suffering with life-threatening disabilities. Clearly, there must be a solution. So what should we do? Well, this is the incredible story of how me and my friend figured out a way to use these traffic violations to potentially save millions of lives, and how that got us on a stage in one of Pakistan's biggest digital innovation platforms. One day, we're sitting at work when we get an email asking us to go to the office of Unilever to receive a secret brief. We go there the next day and we find around 22 teams from all over the country. A guy comes and says, "We want you to eliminate all road-related fatalities in Pakistan. And oh yeah, you're only given 24 hours to come back with a solution. And whoever wins gets a chance to go to Cannes, France to compete in the global competition." I mean, Cannes. Cannes is like the Oscars of advertising. Our first approach was simple, and it's the first thing that comes to anyone's mind. Launch a huge awareness campaign teaching people about the dangers of not following the rules. But if you look around on the streets, one thing becomes abundantly clear. People prefer convenience over the law. These are actual things I've heard from friends, family, and people right on the road who justify driving on the wrong side of the road, for example. Hear this out. "Why do a U-turn half a mile away when I can go home taking one wrong turn? F the directions on the road, I go where my bike takes me. That place has so much traffic, I'd rather take a wrong turn instead." Safe to say that people here can't be convinced by logic to follow the law because they're gonna pick convenience every single time you give them a chance. So we went to the man who launched the product that got millions of illiterate and unbanked Pakistanis to come into the banking system by simply turning everyone in shop into a bank. And so his approach was very simple. He just told us to do one thing, to not think big, but to think small. We were thinking of too many things to solve at once, and our perspective was of two advertising people sitting in our ivory tower looking down at the bad people doing bad things in this country. Our job was to save lives. Our job was not to preach. And after looking at Easy Paisa and other similar ideas which are successful, we found that they all ask the same three questions. Who needs help? Where are they suffering? How are they suffering? And when do they suffer? By providing very clear answers to these three questions, we'll be able to make these lawless roads safer. And this research paper first up answered one of our questions. One look at the roads in any third world country and you'll see one thing in common: bikers. Bikers are the largest group having accidents in Pakistan, a staggering 87%, and among these 86% are men, and among those 43.1% are between the ages of 18 and 29. And these are not just men who are driving about just for fun. These are men who are out there to earn a living for their family. These are men who are earning through their motorcycles and by their motorcycles. But how are they having these accidents? That's the second question that we need to answer to get close to our big idea. So after looking at the paper, the results showed us that most of these bikers were crashing due to over-speeding and crashing into a vehicle that is turning quickly, or due to all these reasons. And to answer the third question, we looked at the time of the accidents and we found this. The time of the day the accidents took place was randomly spaced out, but there was more weight towards nighttime and almost 30%. And most of these accidents happen because bikers can see what's ahead of them. So they unexpectedly run into speed breakers, open sewers, jaywalkers, animals, or maybe vehicles coming from the wrong side of the road. So we've answered 3 out of the 4 questions, which means we're down to just one. And that is by far the toughest question to answer, because when we looked around on the research paper, we couldn't find anything on where these accidents were taking place. It only said that 75% of all accidents happen on main roads. But there was one clue hidden within this research paper, within this data, that drove us to our big idea. We found an article that suggested these black spots on the map of Karachi. Black spots are places where the probability of you running into an open sewer, speed breakers, no lights, is higher than regular roads. Remember when we found out that 75% of all accidents happen on main roads? Well, understanding this one piece of the puzzle is going to unlock the key for everything that we've done so far. See, people in Pakistan and the third world don't learn to drive with the help of an institute. Instead, they opt for informal driving trainings that they get from their older brothers, dad, cousins, or friends. And when these friends take them out on a ride, they often teach them which roads to avoid to prevent running into a black spot. These older brothers don't teach these young riders to change what's on the road, but they teach them to embrace these traffic violations to be as safe as possible. For our idea, we want to embody these older brothers and do something very simple. Embrace these traffic violations to make roads safer. Introducing Bhai, an app whose name is derived from the word brother in Urdu. And it's an app that aims to do something very, very simple. It only is meant to save drivers in these potentially dangerous black spots on the map, that is all. But how will it do that? Preemptively warning drivers of open manhole covers, pedestrians crossing the road, or people driving on the wrong side of the road. It's a map that doesn't judge. It's a map that tells you the reality. But to make a big splash, we had to solve 3 key challenges. One was, how do you teach so many people how to use this app? Number 2, how do you get the large amount of on-road data? And number 3, how do you convince people to use our app instead of Google Maps? Firstly, our plan was to make it as similar to Google Maps as possible, so people who are already accustomed to using Google Maps will feel right at home in this app. They'll just have a few layers added on top of Google Maps, like the black spot warning and the AI voice assistant that will speak to them in their own language. Secondly, we would rely on a system of social status. See, Google Maps also relies on a system similar to this, where every person who's contributing to the system feels like they're making a difference by earning points and getting perks, like getting to name streets or having their reviews rank higher, or being labeled as someone who is a local guide. Each time a person would ride, we would use that data and compare to others to find out if they avoided certain spots on the road. The app would ask the person they saw a pothole, pedestrians crossing, or any other dangers, potentially identifying new black spots for other drivers on the road. But it also does something more. It shows you how many lives were saved because of your contribution. So whenever you open the app, you're able to see how many drivers were helped as a direct result of your contribution. But there's a problem. If nobody uses the app, how are we going to get the data to make the system run? Well, if you go back, you'll see that the majority of people who are having these accidents are between the ages of 18 and 29, who are out to earn on these roads. So how are they earning on these roads? Well, they're using food delivery, they're using logistical delivery systems, they're being bike taxis, right? And so this is the population that is going into these unknown neighborhoods to drop people off, to drop off packages, to drop off food. And that's where they collide with the black spot that they do not know of. So why don't we partner with their parent companies and reroute their directional information, not through Google Maps, but through our application. And suddenly you have all these new members whose data points we can use to make the system better. As a second step, we can take this campaign further and go into the schools, go into the places where the kids are about to learn how to ride a bike and instill good habits of riding early on. We'll be able to start on early. So instead of changing habits, we make good habits for the future generations. And in the meantime, for the population that is breaking the rules. We just have to embrace the lawlessness and save lives in the end. And as for the competition, we defeated 22 teams and came, drumroll please, first runner-ups. Yeah, we lost. And that's why I'm sitting here making this video while the winning team is sitting in cans sipping margaritas. As for why I made this video, I still think, even though I didn't win, I still think that it's a great idea if implemented correctly. So why don't we, if you guys think this idea has merit, why don't we nudge Google using this hashtag and show them this video and make them add this feature in Google Maps, so we can, make a Google Maps that is non-judgmental and is safer for everyone else to use. So Mindscream is a place that is not just there that you just watch a video and you move away. Mindscream is a place that stays with you in your heart, and Mindscream is a community that stays with you when you need it the most. So if you've got some crazy idea and you thought that you're the only one who thinks about it and you can't discuss it with anyone, you're wrong, because Mindscream is a place that has all these crazy people come together and talk about their crazy ideas, just like this one. And so we can all help each other polish our ideas so we can save the world and make it a better place to live in. So I'm still figuring out the Reddit community part, so please forgive me on that, but I will be sharing the links, so forever, if you come in the future, the links will be ready, so you can just come in and discuss with me and the community. So yeah, that was it. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one with another crazy idea and some fun conversations.